think this podcast rocks. So.
We are one of the 7 people to watch it.
I don't watch it.
You going there then?
Yeah, I moved it. So.
How much real estate was there? Or guys be this tower?
Yeah, you guys should not move.
Okay,
You should all stay where you
Just
are.
making sure then.
Yeah.
All set?
Yeah, go ahead. Are we all gonna like awkwardly look at the camera?
Are we looking at each other? Or are we looking at the camera?
This man's drinking.
This is the thumbnail.
I'm drinking.
I know we all beers going. All right, we just start. We're running out of time.
All right,
Go.
Wait, can we do one more thumbnail?
No.
No.
Out of time.
Go.
The wheel.
Welcome to Will of the Wheel. I am your host for today, Shane. And how's everybody doing?
Good.
Amazing. We're doing so good.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
So true.
So we're 3 months late.
Put it off.
It happens. And today we're going to be talking about Chants of Sennaar. It is a puzzle game in which you solve and translate an ancient language. And with that, let's just get into it. Yeah. I guess the first thing I do want to ask is, like, before playing the game, what was y'all's experience with language? Because I speak one language and I'm barely fluent in that.
Similar to this game, I learned French and then forgot it. Just like playing this game, I learned a bunch of languages and then forgot them. Like, if I went back to play the game right now, I would not know a single word for any of the languages.
That's fair.
I think coming from like a background like where I speak multiple languages like day in, day out, it was definitely interesting like trying to learn this. But much like Tyler's case, I'm like, now that I've learned it, I've done my time, I know nothing anymore. So I'm like, if I go back, I'm screwed.
Sure. Well, that's what I like about the game is they show you the words you've already translated, so you don't have to remember. Because I would not. That would be a much harder game, I think.
Yeah. Actually, we'll get into that later.
Difficulty?
Yeah.
What about y'all?
Shrug.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, like, I'm uncultured.
What do you speak?
I speak English, motherfucker.
Yes. Good to see you.
But like, I mean, like, I wouldn't consider this game. I mean, I would consider this game. It's a language-based game, but I wouldn't say it translates necessarily to like a learning of a language. It's like learning light. Like, they distilled the learning of a language down to like a pure entertainment.
It's like when you learn the key phrase, like, how do I get to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Those languages don't have like 30 words.
It's definitely gamified.
Yeah.
Thank God they don't have more.
Well, exactly, yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I'm bilingual, so I speak English and Russian, and I also learned a bit of Spanish, like Tyler.
Very flexible.
Forgot most of it. That's fine. No, languages are cool because a lot of them share patterns, and that's where the game really shines, where you can connect different languages together and the patterns together. It's cool. Like, you learn languages and you get way more proficient at them by using them often. When I went to France, that was the best I ever spoke French. But similar to this game, like, you'll learn a language so well in one area of the game. You'll go somewhere else where they still use that language, but they don't use it as often. So you're like, oh my gosh, like, did that mean this? Like, it's kind of like one thing or the other. So you kind of have to like fully have all of the language explored and known before you go somewhere else. Otherwise, you can't just like guess. You can get so like mixed up, but also because the languages like they have similar words and stuff. So it's like that's the way like you can figure out what's what. And it's really cool to see patterns of it. I guess a brief explanation, since we're talking about multiple languages, it's not just one ancient language that you're discovering. There are multiple layers of a language in different areas, and they're all like similar, but very different in some ways. And some of us struggled in certain areas to discover like certain languages, and in other areas we were just like, it was like one or two of us were like, this is the easiest language, and everyone else is like, that was the worst thing I've ever done.
That was one of the really interesting
We'll definitely
parts.
get to that. But yeah, when we say multiple languages, that's just what we mean. Like there's a bunch of different layers to this language. What about you, Zach?
Yes, I had one flaccid attempt to learn Spanish as a child, and obviously went nowhere. I want to say, like, probably so many years of my life wasted trying to do Spanish in school.
Well, like 7 years
And
of school.
if this game has taught me anything, I will never be able to speak another language for as long as I live.
Yeah.
I'm barely passable in English, so anything else is it's too high for me.
Feel that. And then also just like, how did we all enjoy the game? I like this game a lot. I don't think it's all good, and we'll talk about some of that later, but
yeah. I mean, why don't we just go left or right? Robbie, go for it. I know you got some words to say.
Piece of crap.
Speak your truth. Speak your truth. No censorship.
go on.
Come on, cook it.
No, it was like how much do we like want to talk about? Like, or like I'll go off like on a full rail here.
I know, feel free. Yeah,
General, yeah,
Like,
you impressed.
I know we have like a plan set up
No,
here.
that's alright. We can circle back to it.
Also,
Yeah,
circle around.
Go for it.
Alright. Overall, the first concept of like the game, it was definitely interesting. And then controls. I'm an FPS gamer, so I like WASD. I do not like right-click adventure.
I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
I hate League. I despise it. Get that shit
The
out.
movement works better on controller.
I played it on
Ass.
controller.
Um,
Typing,
But the typing
interface
isn't
wasn't
the same on
The typing is the
controller.
issue.
You need to play the game with a BlackBerry or something.
Yeah, exactly. I use my
Yeah.
BlackBerry phone with the
They
joystick
do
ball.
have like those controllers
Yeah,
and
the
keyboards on them,
trackball.
don't they?
Yeah.
Like, that's like psychotic, but I'm sure that would work great for this game.
Honestly,
Yeah,
though,
honestly.
yeah, like one of those Xbox 360 ones that you plug in. The keyboard.
Chance 2, you know what to do.
Yeah, I get that. That would be something.
BlackBerry exclusive.
Ooh. But yeah, so definitely was not a fan of the controls at first. Learning the language itself, at least in the first one, when we first started, it was definitely fun. It's like, oh, okay, this is like what this means, this is what this word means, and then we move on. And I'm very much the person that's like, I like consistency. Like, I don't like change, and in this case, rapid change of like all these different languages more and more and more. So like when I got done with the first level, I was like, oh, okay, hell yeah, I know this. This is gonna be easy. This is gonna be a good time. And then I get to I get to the second stage, and then I see that okay, this is this word, and then I'm like, I try to form English, and I'm like, this does not make sense, and I don't know English that well, so it's like I'm like, maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. But then it got to the point where I'm like,
By English, you mean like grammar?
yeah,
Grammatical.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, grammar is definitely not my strong
Don't
suit.
know English.
But it got to the point where because in the game you can write down notes, like for what you think certain words are. But it got to the point where I'm like, help me fuck down. I'm like, this makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you. But so it was a lot of trial and error at some points for that part of the game. So definitely the constant changing was something I didn't like, but it also made sense for learning the game and like learning like how each war is set up over time. And then there was one section of the game which was all based around stealth, which was so ass because there's certain parts that you have to find that I didn't until like way later. Because there's no guided path in the game. It is very much you get to this floor and you can explore it how you want, but in order to progress, you'll have to find certain spots within the game that will help you understand that, oh, I need to get to point A to point B in this certain way. But there's certain spots in the game where you have to dress up as someone, and I kept on dressing up randomly or whatever. I was like, why am I getting caught? So I clearly screwed up here.
So Robbie couldn't figure out the cosplay mechanic.
Yeah, I figured it out. I eventually got there, but
We need more puzzle games, though.
I don't. Put me in chess. And then eventually got to the end where they were like, would you like to reunite the tower? I said, fuck no, get me out. And I ended my experience.
Actively said, let this civilization end.
The bad ending.
Robbie got the any percent.
They said, you can go back and save everyone. I was like, no. And he was like, wait, stop, you must do this. Like, I'm going to do this anyway. And I left and I closed the game. But that was my overall experience. What were your guys'? I know the evil one side. What's the actual good side?
Big spoilers for the ending of the game. There are two endings, and Robbie didn't get the second one. There's one ending that's very clearly like, you lost.
I would argue that ending is harder to get you have to seek out that ending.
I don't think so.
No, it's what
No.
happens the first time. He means you just.
You
You have to basically 100% the game to get the other
You do.
one, but it's a lot more fulfilling to get that ending.
It was.
The other one is literally
very
like
clearly bad.
Yeah. Oh,
Dude,
that's very
like
bad.
leaning over the edge. Your character is just like dead. Like it's straight up like the
He's-
worst way
yeah.
that you could end the game.
It was.
Yeah, it's with the story.
It was
Yeah,
very much.
but-
I think we had to reunite all the hidden elevators that we found throughout playing the game, and I think if you did all of those and then went back to the top, then you got
That's
the,
like the true.
yes, the true ending was not a good ending.
Yeah, it's not like you have to do a new replay. You can just
Yeah.
Yeah.
continue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You basically. Well, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, did I like the game? Absolutely, I like the game a lot, and I think it stems because I like games that almost make you slowly piece together things, like small hits of dopamine. Every time you discovered a new word, it was like, yeah, yes, I got it, and it's constantly throughout the entire game. Oh, yes, I got this word.
Mhm.
It just constantly gave that to me over and over and over again. And even when I wasn't figuring things out, I was still making fun of myself in a way. Like, if I didn't know what a word was, I would just like put some random curse word there for what I thought it
That's my
was.
favorite part.
So we did the
The
same.
combinations you got were so cursed at the end.
I have some photos of like the random combinations of sentences that I was getting.
It's because I don't know if we explained this. When you would write in your journal what you think words are,
Yes.
and when you
And then
talk to people, it would display whatever you have written in your journal for those like runes that are appearing.
Yeah.
So in game, Tyler saw the text. My people need fuck. I think that's what's
Need
beautiful
fuck.
about this game.
Pretty
So
good.
true. So true.
But like, in a way, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
It makes sense to you, so it's like you could get through it.
But it was
yeah.
also like entirely wrong. Like every word was wrong.
Oh yeah, it got pretty bad when some areas I would do that, and I would have so much of a language undiscovered that it would just be like gibberish, but it would be
Use your
very
own
fun.
gibberish.
Yeah, it was gibberish that
It was your
I,
own
It was
language.
Tyler's gibberish on top of the game's own gibberish.
so I found a way to make failure in the game funny to me, so it wasn't as
That's
frustrating.
pretty cool.
But like overall, the game is really fun. It challenges you. It's always it makes you discover puzzles and really just constantly get satisfied by piecing something together at your own speed. There's only a few games I know that do that really well. This, Outer Wilds, and like a few other like just self-exploration discovery games. This is one of them, so it's up my alley. I liked it a lot.
I absolutely agree. I love the game overall because of how good the language learning mechanic is. I hated the stealth and the
Yeah.
movement. I agree. It's not all good. But what the game does do good is enough for me.
I thought the game was perfect for what it is. It's like something that doesn't overstay its welcome. It's got a really like catchy and flashy art style that is like concise within its own environment, and it's consistent in terms of like a minimalistic UI that is contained in its world. It's like everything feels a part of everything. Nothing feels like it doesn't belong, which I think a lot of games struggle with sometimes, especially indie games. And like for that reason alone, I love good, tight experiences. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a very good time with this one. I think would I rank this as like my number one? No, I don't know if I would, but like
Yeah,
it's for like the type of game it is. I think it's great. I think there's no reason for anyone really not to like check it out. I kind of think it's like one of those few games you can just recommend to someone and be like, it's interesting. Check it out.
I think most people get something out of it.
Yeah.
This is a nice game to talk about though, because like unlike Outer Wilds, where if you talk about the game, you ruin the experience for somebody. You can literally talk about the game and be like, I had no idea about this thing. Like I was just like, you discover languages.
It's basically the same experience throughout the game, but differently.
You can
Yeah.
pitch the game and have the pitch and idea of the game
not
express to
spoil
someone without spoiling the game,
Right.
which is nice.
It's like
Here's
here's
Outer Wilds. It's like, trust me, just play it. Like you can't really say
Or like
That's how people go, yeah, sure, okay.
or like Inscription.
Yeah.
that too.
You're like, I can't tell you anymore. What you see, you
yeah.
just have to play it.
There's more.
It's
Just
like
play.
it's like you just have to trust me. And they're like,
is it just a deck builder? Yeah. Yeah.
just play it. Come on. Yeah. No, for me, I love the game. I love the themes of it, like uniting a divided people, trying to piece things together, pick up the patterns, put languages together, figure out where you are and what happened, and like just the overall pacing of the game. All the languages are so unique, and the way you discover them. Some of them are absolute bitches to discover.
We want to talk about that later.
We will.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But I thought it was great. The only thing stopping you is your like preconceptions. That's the word. Your preconceptions of what the language is the only thing that like stops you. So like, you have to like question like, I am wrong. This sentence doesn't make sense.
But why?
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
And I thought it was great all the way through. I had a great time.
Definitely might have been the hardest part, is like going into a language
Because you're like,
each of us thought it was.
I'm so right.
Determined
Why
how
does this
hard
not
the
make
language
sense?
was.
Yeah.
I'm so
I do
right.
want to talk about that later as well. Probably next after this. That the game has some very smart ways of trying to help you with that.
Yeah.
But Zach.
Round it out.
This is a game that I respect more than I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
For reference, I did not finish this game. And I have no intention of ever finishing it, probably. I tried to play it alone. I played it with my girlfriend. Hi, Susan. And I would not do her justice without saying that she fucking hated this game.
Yeah.
She hated every second. She was like, we tried to play it. She's like, can I just pull out a guide, please? And I'm like, sure, whatever. And like, I got how far? I got 2 like floors in,
Okay.
and I got to the 3rd floor where like it resets you again. I'm just like, oh fuck, I can't do this anymore. It's one of those just like you need to be in like a certain like mood or mindset to like really enjoy it, and I just one of those like if I'm working all day and I come home and play a video game, I'm just like I play like Sonic shit. Like I play stuff from like morons. Like I can't play like I even have to think. I was like,
relax.
I feel like if I was on the right, because I played other detective games I really liked. Like I really liked the Golden Isle game and Obra Dinn, but I think there were a few things that like I think I needed more of a hook. I love the world, I love the art, and I love like the atmosphere. I thought that was all fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I like a lot of the puzzles too, like just the normal kind of more gamey puzzles. But just the language, it was interesting, but it was very hard for me to like really get invested. I felt myself being frustrated more than entertained. But it's just like that's why I say I respect it a lot though, because like the craftsmanship is unquestionable. It's a great game, certainly. It's just not for me. And it's like wrong game, wrong time sort of thing, you know. Yeah. I think if I was in a different stage of like my life, or you know,
I would found you some different way.
Yeah, you know, if I didn't, I'm sure I could have found a way to love it, but it didn't come together for me.
The right mood. To
I think it's just like
unite the people.
Yeah, I think it's just like I tried. I gave it as much as I could. I feel like I don't want to force myself to play through it if I'm not enjoying it. Especially because you guys were saying how hard it gets later on. I'm like, I'm struggling early in the game. So I'm like, if it's even harder later, I feel like I'm just going to be miserable. So.
Yeah, I definitely felt that like after these guys were like saying it. Context, they all beat the game before I started playing.
Yeah, this was a wheel game where like we like speed ran it.
You 4 like
we finished in like
we and Robbie didn't even start.
Yeah, we were just
right
like
after
trying.
we were doing podcast to podcast where we were on time with our podcast deliveries.
Yeah, the game was not the reason that this is so late.
Yeah, but
we finished in like a week, and we were like, this game is
because to be fair,
awesome.
It's a 10-hour game. Give or take.
Yeah, it's 10 hours.
Pretty sure it's calm.
You put in 2 hours a day, and you're done.
Day on it. I was done. I was like, Also,
Also, it's a puzzle game, so you don't want to forget. Forgetting is the worst. So you want to play it as quickly as possible without
that
burning out.
That hindered me too.
Yeah, no.
Do
Trying to balance work and then trying to play this game versus other games that were a bit more action friendly for me.
Yeah, free
This
time
sucked.
is definitely
It sucked.
free time is what you need
So-
to play this game.
Yeah, so like when they were like saying, "Oh yeah, it gets really hard, really fast," it did not motivate me to finish the game at all. I did finish it at the end, but my motivation for this game was more of I just need to be done.
Robbie's finish was crawling to the
Yeah, I was crawling up this
I saw
damn
Robbie
mountain.
crawling on like
forcing.
Yeah, I'm trying to climb up this mountain. I'm crawling to the it's hell. And then by the time it's done,
It's
I'm
hell.
jumping to my death. I don't care
I
anymore.
also love how your experience playing with your girlfriend and your experience playing with your girlfriend were entirely opposite.
I got hard carried.
And Sammy popped off.
That's yeah. Like you can watch the video. Like she corrects me at so many points where I'm about to go down just like the straight up wrong path. She's like, "That's plural," and I'm like, "No, it's not. Like, what do you mean? There's no way it's plural. It's like absolutely plural."
Well, you guys have like a very symbiotic experience.
Two brains solve the one game.
There was a point
I cheated.
where
Yeah.
Oh, you cheated.
They called it the ringer.
There was points in the game where I did wish I did have someone to like correct me. There's one point in the game, I don't think Zubes has gone to this point, but there was this one point in the game where it was a transition between floors. And you had to do this in a certain direction or you restart the whole maze.
Oh yeah, that
and
part.
I really wish
I think I
I did
did
that
play
by
that.
you did.
I
Okay.
think so. It sounds
Did
familiar.
you like first
Dude,
try that?
no.
Yeah, I think it
I
was
just like got I think one or two of the directions and then just winged it. Like or
Is
something
that
like
the one
that.
where you like find like the dead body in it?
No, that's a compass.
No.
It's,
Okay,
it's much
no, that's a
better.
different
Never
one.
mind. I didn't
Um,
play that then.
but this was after the
Yeah, no, I don't think you
floor.
made it to that.
I didn't think that one was that.
Also, that language was the most difficult, at least for me. Maybe not for you
It
guys.
wasn't as bad as I thought, surprisingly.
See, that is surprising because that's the one with different grammar.
I think it was the point of the fact that like I
Kinda,
just had like all my words were just like random gibberish at that point. So the fact that it just reset me, I'm like, alrighty, well, I didn't get really reset. I'm just like, alright, we'll just wing it. And then like with the journal that you get, I'm just like just clicking and dragging until the UI changes to like a fixed icon. I'm like, okay, so this is what the word means. So I don't know how, but
Interesting.
I had a simpler time monkey braiding my way through that than any other floor. But
Is that how you played the whole game?
yes, do not
Constantly clicking until you get the
Don't
lock
shit on my way. You have your
Yeah,
way.
Trying all the combinations.
Guess and check until you get
Yeah.
the correct words.
I did that for a few pages too. I was like, all right, no,
Typically, if I say,
no,
like,
no.
I'm absolutely sure about these ones, but I have one left and I have no idea. I will just like slot in as many as I
Yeah.
I get finding one. All of them is a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a lot of
Oh,
it's a lot of
It's
words.
like,
I'm not as advanced as these
Whatever.
beings over
There
here.
was a
can. You
couple
know
of
the most
them,
languages, I'm pretty sure. Don't you?
Not in freaking gibberish.
The runes are very
It's a
visual.
fictional language.
Like I think
so.
I couldn't
there's
understand
a couple runes.
I couldn't.
Runes were like fire and stuff like that, and it straight up like
Some of
looks
them,
like
yeah.
a fire. And
Some
I was
of them,
like, oh,
yeah.
that's intuitive.
One thing I wanted to bring up is I think even in the first language, they have a really good way of visually showing things with the glyphs, like the symbols for the language.
Some, yeah.
Because they have a symbol for like church
Yeah, that one.
and a
Was,
symbol for persons. They show person, church. That's a devotee, I think they're called.
yeah.
Location, church. That's the church. And then like just church was like religion or something like that, or God.
Yeah.
So there are like clues to help you along.
I did not pick up on any of those.
I didn't
To be fair, yeah, they don't like tell
I didn't
you,
really
it's
pay
just
attention
there.
to the graphics either. I didn't really understand that.
That was like my
Off
favorite
by
part of the game,
languages.
honestly. Like
Some-
finding, I know what you're talking about because like,
Yeah.
they had like the church and the cemetery, and I was like putting like the environment, like exploring the environment and like figuring out that way. It had like those like shops or something where
Yeah,
you had to like read the signs. I was like, oh yeah, like I kind of get it. Like that stuff I really like. I think trying to figure stuff out through conversations, that really was difficult
That's
for me.
definitely, yeah.
That's fair.
Like,
I feel like
Yeah, that makes sense. I can feel that.
at some points I always thought it was like, was it better to just explore the whole area first and then go back to people, like while we had like a better base? Or is it better just to talk to people first and then just deal with it? Like it was it wasn't mosh pit of hell for me. But
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever works. Like if you can't figure it out, just keep exploring elsewhere. And
Yeah.
Come back to it.
no, exactly. But going back to the whole compass thing, like with hoping with somebody, I did definitely wish like I had somebody with that, because I think that took me a lot longer than I would have liked. I think that took me an hour just to get through the freaking compass section. Not even before I get to like the lab with a creepy monster. Which is another thing. The sound design / music definitely was amazing in this game, because I was scared shitless when I got to the lab with the monster chasing after me.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
It
They're
does
like,
come out of
and now
nowhere.
it's a horror game.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, this is something.
Nearly killed me. I
Yeah.
was like, bro.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was like, how did
They
you get
tricked
sound?
me.
But yeah, no, sound design was really
I
good.
did look up some spoilers.
But yeah, that compass section,
I do agree with that. There are some puzzles that I hated.
yeah.
I
That was
like
one.
the compass section. I would go.
You just had gamer luck.
Yeah.
I would like.
Section was
I would like move.
I didn't understand it.
As soon
at
as I
first.
got to a room that I knew was the next room, I would write down on a piece of paper like west,
Oh, like you just.
and
Gotcha.
I made my
That's
own,
smart.
like path through. As soon as I got a correct path, I was like, all right, this is it. West, east, trial, west, east, south, trial, and I would just like get through
Right.
it that way. And Shane was like, what?
But here's
Yeah, I
the
didn't
thing.
do it
Didn't the
that
compass
way.
reset
Like
every
that.
room though?
Yeah, I thought it.
That's what I
randomly
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so I
the
think he
compass
did
direction's
just
always
get
different.
kind of lucky, while
Okay.
also like
Well, I just
Maybe
Yeah,
one of
because
the
compass
paths
resets, so it's like
keep
that strategy is
generating
smart,
or something.
but it doesn't work like that.
I didn't think so.
I don't know.
think he
I
did
figured
just
out
get
a
lucky.
way that it worked.
Damn, dude, you're luck.
Oh man.
I have a question for when watching anime. This is a weird question. Watching anime, do you ever like pick up on words or phrases in Japanese, like even before you learn Japanese?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever just like repeated words or phrases you've heard in the anime, like afterwards, or like you just like hear, like you can recognize it
Make
from?
that connection.
Yeah.
For like one word, sure.
Yeah, maybe they want to.
Like for me, that's like a cool thing. Like seeing the patterns, like oh yeah, that's what that word means, or like you have that. What happens in the anime versus what they're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, playing the game.
I didn't learn
just learning
Japanese.
The languages was
But
more than
knowing a
enough
few
for
words is
motivation.
cool.
yeah.
But you do experience that at a certain point, or at least like I experienced that of like there's certain languages. The first floor language, you spend a lot of time with it. So like by the time you're at like the later stages of the game, when people are speaking the first floor language, you're like, okay, I know that rune, I know that rune,
Yeah.
I know that rune. So then they're correlating to this rune because like there's certain
It like
ones-
really builds up.
they're the languages will interact with one another, but they correlate to one another as well.
Yeah, you need to translate
so-
between them.
Yeah, and
That part was cool. I really like
one of the ways that they do make it slightly easier, when going from floor to floor, because each floor has a different people, with a different culture and a different language. The art style and music totally changes, and it's awesome. But like from first floor to second floor, you find, I think it's a shield with a sentence in the first language
Yeah.
and a sentence in the second language, so you can quickly translate it and start with a few words. Stuff like that is nice. But on the third floor, that first area is really tough because the grammar is totally different. It's like Yoda speak.
Yeah.
It's like,
But that made more
go,
sense to
we
me.
do to
That
the
made more
pool.
sense.
Yeah, it's
We
like
go
it's
to
like
the pool.
verb,
Yeah,
Noun.
so true.
And that is exactly how you feel playing the game.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's so
subject, verb like subject, and then like
You could.
You really had to load there for a minute. Get that going.
I mean that's basically how the game works.
Yeah, you go in. I
You're
remember,
like I have no fucking
I
clue.
got to the third area, and Shane was watching my stream at that point. The very first thing, like when it gives you like a sentence from the previous place and the sentence from there, and I was like talking out loud.
Yeah, you were like starting to get to the grammar. He was like, "No, that's stupid." And I was like, "I don't know, is it?"
I was
I
like,
like devolved into literally speaking like Yoda, and I was like, ascend we will.
Yeah. No, I love that because I made the same connection. I was like, "It's like Yoda."
Yeah.
it's still funny to me because I was like, I didn't start playing the game at that time. So it was like just you like
Just hearing
talking
him.
about it. So I'm just like, what is exactly
It was
happening?
like no context spoilers. Like it worked. It doesn't really spoil it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But it's just like you going into Yoda is just like it's always funny for me.
I beat the third floor without like 2 pages of words. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
I had to go back. I was like, I'm missing pages, and I'm like, oh, because like every floor has a different way of learning the words like from the baseline, and on the third floor, so you have to try to like monkey carts.
Yeah,
I just, like,
hurts when it's-
Didn't do that, so
Yeah.
I missed like 6 words
I didn't do
Need
2 of the
monkeys.
monkey cards either.
because you have to find bananas, and I was like, I can't find the bananas, and then I just like skipped it, and then just kept going.
Yeah,
The bananas
Those
were not
bananas,
hard
they
to
were
find.
Yeah,
really
Especially,
easy.
I do want to point out in the game, if you hold
Yeah.
middle mouse,
Yes.
it shows
Shows
you all
everything
the
that's
interactable
interactable.
on your screen.
yeah.
I mean, that was a lifesaver.
I just missed some bananas.
That was
I didn't
huge.
know that until so far into the game.
Yeah, when I got to the end game, I was like, I don't have this language.
do
I need
talk
to go
about it.
back and finish this language.
Because that's how I used everything to find letters, and then
Yeah,
just
no.
did trial errors.
It's necessary at some point.
That's how because I would just grab everything, and then I'll be like, all right, time to walk into pages.
I didn't know. I don't read.
Clearly.
But yeah, another thing that was very interesting to me are the ways in which the languages differ. For example, for words that are plural or negative versions of words, in the first language, I believe you put 2 of the same symbol next to each other, like
Right.
person,
Yes.
and that means we
Mhm.
or us.
Yeah.
And other languages actually have a separate symbol for it.
That is literally
Sometimes
like a
the
plural
symbol is before the word, sometimes it's after.
Yeah.
That was very fun, like challenging, but fun to figure out each language's little rules.
I don't like that.
It was like playing 5 different games.
It was also like, this is like a common through line. Like, you have to have singular and plural things. So you can always try to find that in the language. You're like, this has to exist because it has to translate in some way. So it's like a very common through line.
I think it was just the fact that like I'm terrible at grammar, so me trying to understand the sentence structure, I'm just like, no, this doesn't work.
You know I am too. But I like make it up.
You would just get by through luck, which is insane.
Which floor was your hardest language ever? You don't have to spoil it, but which floor?
Just language wise, or
I
like
mean,
other
yeah, like,
mechanic
This
wise?
is a
Language.
Yeah, like language to
podcast.
understand and get used to it.
This is the pod. We could do whatever. But yeah,
you can spoil it.
whichever language floor and why or
I
why
think
not.
4, probably.
The Alchemist.
Yeah, that one was a tough one, just because I was like, I thought I understood some of it, but then like, it'd always be like some things I would either forget, sometimes like inspecting like all the artifacts in the library, like
Oh,
I
yeah,
just completely missed on that.
Getting like the medals.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I did like half of them. I think I was missing one. I still to this day I'm missing one, but I cannot go back to that place. But yeah, like just trying to learn languages through there, I think was probably hard.
I think 3 was the hardest for me.
The Yoda speak.
Yeah, even though I understood the Yoda speak, I thought I couldn't wrap my head around it for so long to like make longer sentences out of it. And also that area is huge.
It's true.
The Bard area is massive.
Yeah.
It has sewers. It has like
Yes, you are dog.
Oh, the sewers
a
are
boat area that you need to travel across. Like there's so much in that area, and to actually piece together everything just took me a long time.
Yeah.
I liked the 4th one. The Alchemist one was like our divide, where so many of us either really struggled with it or really liked it.
I like the Alchemist one. I
the
like
Alchemist
math.
one a lot. I don't like math at all. I just
I hate
figured
math.
like it just made sense a little bit. I don't know. It was weird. It just
That works.
clicked. It goes back to what I said earlier, where like our perceptions of, I think you said this technically, but like the perceptions that we had when we go into these levels, like what we think the language is determines the difficulty. Because you're either kind of close and then the language is a little easy, or you're really far off and it takes you a long time. I think when people were saying like numbers and math earlier, like I kind of got spoiled that something had to do with numbers and math.
So like
maybe
you were like,
going into it, I was like, this is a numbers and math language.
maybe. Yeah.
So I like structured it around that and made it really, really easy for me. But for people that went into that language and they're just like, oh, it's another like weird language that has weird ways of grammar, it was probably really difficult just going into
Because it comes right off the
thinking it was
Bard
something
language,
else.
which is like so free flowing.
Yeah. And then you wouldn't think that it's just a language with like 20 numbers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's rough. It's a very like sciencey number language, which is nothing like the other ones. But it makes sense for those like that tribe of people.
Yeah.
I definitely did struggle with the Alchemist one, especially on the puzzles more so.
Yeah.
But I think the hardest overall for me were the Bard language, the Yoda speak, because like you, I understood the concept, but then when you get a sentence full of all new words and you have to try and work backwards on the grammar again, it's tough.
It's also like Yoda speak isn't, even when you understand it's Yoda speak, that's not a normal way to talk.
Like you have to
it depends on the
reorder.
language.
You have to like take the books, like reorder them.
Other languages do maybe not work exactly the same. There's some that are similar to that.
I think maybe that's why
Like
I
in real life?
4-3 the most then. Because, for at least from my background, because I like, speak Hindi, German, Japanese, like,
You speak German?
high school.
Ah,
Still counts.
German in
Like,
high school? Fair enough.
That was my school did. But at least for me, like a lot of like the word structure in 4-3 was like very much like second knowledge to me. Like because it's like, oh, I kind of deal with this on a daily basis at home anyway. And like when I talk to other people, it's like, oh, okay, this is
Well, I
just,
wonder
like,
if it was
Yoda
pulled from
speak.
like those cultures more.
I would love to know like
there-
where exactly like they pooled like their
I will
languages.
send you guys a great article that
Okay.
that references the specific
Okay, yeah.
languages. There were a lot, and they like meshed a bunch together.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because as much as I love to shit on this game is very cool, like structurally, gameplay wise.
Yeah.
But
It can be divisive, but it is
yeah,
designed
it is
well.
still a solid
It's
game.
a very well put together game.
Yes.
I
So
like
yeah,
it.
I would really want to learn about that part. But yeah.
I think like hands down the Bard language was the most difficult language. However, the Alchemists part had a puzzle that was the only point where I was like, I need a guide.
Was it the final puzzle? By
It's
chance?
The math one, right?
It's the puzzle where you have to find, like, essentially, it's been a while since I looked at it.
You have to like balance the scales.
You
Yeah,
have to do
yeah, that
alchemy.
works.
You have to
Yeah.
present all the metals
Yeah,
to
right.
like balance the weights on this like machine to create a key, and it has to be balanced
A certain
perfectly,
composition.
Yeah.
or else the key won't work. I just didn't get it. Like I had the language all learned. I just could not understand like what the math was to figure it out. But I watched like Tyler do it immediately. I watched Felix do it immediately, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a me thing.
I replayed the game on both playthroughs, didn't understand it, had to look up a guide. Even with the guide, the way they explained it didn't make sense. And I watched Tyler do it and heard him talk about it, and I was like, that makes sense to me. Like, I was like, that's a really smart way of thinking about it. So I thought that was very interesting.
I liked how the numbers were made in that one.
It was like
a single line, and then
another line.
there would be like lines extending from four corners that would determine is it 1, a 10, a 100, or 1,000 type number. And the hardest part about that was figuring out what the hell like a 0 was. And a 0, I think, was just like nothing was there. If you had like,
It was just a line, I think.
if it was 1,000, the line would be here, and then you would have like 1 and 3 here. It would be 1,013. And figuring that out was like the hardest thing. Once I got that, it was like, okay, I get how to do this math.
I love for that floor. So yeah, for me, 3 was the hardest. Not only did I not have part of the language, also just the Yoda speak was so difficult.
I'm just seeing.
Although,
it now.
I did like the puzzle at the end with the play to end the level.
That's cool.
That was very cool.
But yeah, it was very tough. Number 3. Yeah, it was just tough.
What was the puzzle? Is that the compass?
Yeah, you do the play,
Yeah.
and I guess it tells you the direction.
Yeah, you.
And then you do
had
the
gamer
puzzles.
luck.
Did you even like? That's
Oh my
crazy.
God.
You didn't even. Wow.
You can't. This man's luck is on a different level.
Dude, I
What
didn't
did you
do that.
do to
area.
this
That no wonder it wasn't the
That's
hardest
impressive.
area for me. I was just like,
Wait,
It
didn't
just
I
worked.
watch you do like the reversion of that puzzle, and you were like, I don't get it.
yes. At the end of the game,
Oh,
there's,
because you have.
there's like another segment of that, and I had no idea what was going on. And you were like, it's easy, and I was like, it's not.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
We got karma somewhere.
It did hit me
I
in
feel
the
like I
back
shouldn't
end.
even answer because I didn't finish the game.
I mean,
Oh,
of the floors that
so
you did,
experienced
Yeah.
that.
I mean, the third was probably the hardest because that's where I stopped. But
was that like the breaking point?
I didn't get very far. I was just like, I can't fucking do this after seeing all the new letters again.
You got to it,
Yeah.
you saw blank, plural, blank, blank.
Yeah, I
You're
was like,
nope. Gone.
I don't know if I can think of like. I'm probably the hardest part of the game. Well, I think Perk's segment was the fucking stealth section on the
Yes.
second floor.
All right, go ahead.
Stealth in this game is fucking dog shit.
I agree.
Essentially,
It is
the movement being
in-
bad, too.
The movement,
Yeah,
the
movement does
movement
not
is
help
extremely clunky and horrible, and the way I like. There was one part that I like kind of liked because you had to like consider a guy who was like way at the other side of the room and like see where he was looking, but it's like it's conveyed really weirdly.
It's true.
Like-
There's no like cones for their vision.
Yeah, I really wish there was
yes.
like something. It's every time stealth came up, I was like, oh.
And there's a lot of timing, but everything moves really slow.
Yeah.
It's true.
So like you'd be like,
There's a lot
oh,
of
I need to move there now, and you'd like walk
Yeah, it
across the
definitely-
field, and you're like, I didn't move fast
The
enough.
stealth is so weird because it has
Yeah.
like
That's like how he walks, like, or like he'll walk a little
You're
fast.
like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and so you're just like slowly going.
no, that
through
dude
it.
could schmove. Like the guy.
Oh,
the guy
Sometimes, if you
Chants-
really make him.
So,
Yeah,
I
sometimes.
I just hate how it's like you have to like pre-select where you want to go and then click, and that's how you do it. It's like you see like the little light version of him
Yeah, the
right there.
hologram.
It's like I don't know.
yeah.
I just don't know. I get why, because like I guess how else would you do it with the game's weird ass control scheme?
But yeah, there's no like place like put like good.
It works
like,
better on
people
controller.
here.
The stealth section
I
weirdly
did
works
it
better on
controller.
controller
I still
think
thought
all
it was
because it's like it snaps to the places that you could go. So you're not like misled. Like, oh, is this a stealth mechanic? It was like, is this a place I can hide? Nope. Like the controller will just tell you, oh, yeah, you can go there or you can go there, and then it's just like up to you. But it's still not great.
I respect the ambition of trying to put stealth in the game, but
No, I definitely.
it
do.
just didn't work.
No, unfortunately, it did not. 4-2, I.
They also
definitely-
use it a lot. Like they use it multiple times in the game. which
Yeah,
makes it
there was the lab section. Again, this is after 4-3. Like you're running away from this monster, and you have to do this minecart puzzle. And I hated that one.
running at you.
Yeah, that thing. First off, nightmare fuel.
And then,
Yeah,
also,
I've seen it.
also when you get caught, you get like the jump scare. Like,
Yeah.
running at
Oh
you.
my god.
It's like those fucking things from Echoes of the Eye.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
no,
definitely is a
exactly.
Or like
They're
from Metroid
terrible.
Dread.
Exactly.
Oh, the Emmys.
Yeah, when they
The
catch you.
animations are
Yeah.
jank.
The animations are jank, but it's
I
cool.
love the guy
Yeah,
running at
really
you down the
long
hallway.
Anyway, he just
Yeah.
gets
It's just
bigger.
slowly getting bigger.
Yeah, that one's just like,
Like scaling vertically.
Yeah, you have to close the doors.
So
Like,
it's very
no,
funny.
it like turns to first person.
His arms are moving so much faster than how he's actually moving down.
but you
that
still
hall.
get that sense of like urgency. You're just like, oh shit, I gotta close that
Yeah.
damn thing. But going into that puzzle, there's this minecart puzzle where you have to time like you being hidden from the monsters, and I could never get the timing down properly, so I was stuck there for I think like a half hour, maybe, just trying to hide from the monster with the minecart. And I was like, I don't know what to do.
And there's some weird stuff where you have to like go forward and then you have to go back.
Yeah,
Like,
and
retrigger
also,
something,
some
go
of it
back
is
and go forward
Pretty
again.
unclear, I think.
and then also the hidden mechanic, like they explain it, but it's just like it's not too like broadly considered, but it's like you have to stay in the shadows, quote unquote. to
But you can
hide
also
from the
throw
monster.
rocks. So like you can do like the
Yeah.
sensor
Not you
based
can
thing.
do that.
You can't. I don't know if they gave you the option to throw rocks that early in the game.
No, I definitely
So you-
remember throwing
You get it
Like,
in
right
4-1.
away,
I don't know if you have to use it against the monster, but you get it in
You
4-1.
do, yeah.
You do. I don't
If
remember
necessary,
4-2 though. I don't know if we used it in 4-2.
Definitely in 4-2.
Yeah, I remember
Throwing
using
rocks?
rocks.
You can throw rocks in 4-2.
I definitely threw a rock or two.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like when they introduced it, because you like throw it over there, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's
Yeah,
like every
yeah.
other stealth game. You
After
throw a rock
introduction,
somewhere, and
not
the enemies
sure.
walk to, and you're like, okay.
It's a very simple stealth
Yeah,
mechanic.
they put in like the bare minimum to make the stealth work, and then it's a small indie game. So
I
they
really-
really
I respect that they want to have some variety.
Yeah, no,
like some more
It just
like
isn't
Yeah.
great.
I rate
intense sequences. I guess it's
Right,
just
Yeah.
it's just one of those like you play the game for one thing.
It's like Charm
Yeah.
but jank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quality over
But
quality.
bringing up the second floor with the warriors reminded me another one of my favorite parts of the game are the differences that like the same idea will have a different word in different languages. Like the earliest example I think is the devotees in the next floor with the warriors. I think they call them like heretics or something. And you're like,
Like
oh,
unworthy or something.
Unworthy.
The words that they have for the other parts of the tower are very.
Yeah, don't the warriors call like the bards like
The chosen.
the chosen?
Because they
Yeah.
ascended.
and bards call warriors idiots, or it's
I
someone
think they
else,
literally do call them like
Yeah,
idiots.
it's like
It's
oh,
like
that's not what I thought the definition
everyone
would
sees
be.
them like hierarchy based, like, oh, I'm a floor above you, you're a
Yes.
peasant to me.
Yeah, because in the first floor they're like you can't go like the warriors are blocking a door for the devotees and they're like you can't get past here. Nah,
Yeah.
it's like shut up, you dumbasses.
And another thing is like the way the languages are structured. Like the warriors' language is almost entirely made to be used as commands and orders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you go there because it's a militaristic culture. The
Yes.
language reflects that.
Even the glyphs as well. Like it was a lot
Yeah, it's
more
very
aggressive.
harsh
based. Yeah.
shapes.
Yeah, like pick up box.
Yeah.
And their architecture. That's
Yeah. No, the
game
architecture was
architecture is
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
The art is still like one of its like highest qualities for that game. Like because like in the 4-2, I definitely enjoyed 4-2 because it was like from a militaristic background, you see like all these statues of like tyrants or whatever.
Statues, weapons everywhere.
It's very big and powerful.
Yeah.
And then you, in contrast to everything else in the architecture, feel very small.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
walking up these grand
And
staircases.
it's so funny
Yeah.
too when you do the cosplay thing. You're like a tiny dude, and the warriors are like,
Like they're
Yeah, you'll
towering
pass.
over you.
Yeah.
"You're wearing a
And,
helmet. That's
the-
game."
The
The
color
helmet brings
palette
up like
as
half
well.
the height.
But from each floor to the next, the color palette completely changes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
every
like
new
they
floor
pick
is like, wow.
3 or 4 colors, and it just works.
Yeah, I think I like
the water
4-3.
chases too. Which is
Yes.
Yeah.
I-
Definitely reminded me a lot of Journey in that way.
Yeah.
Very similar. Not exactly the same, but definitely very similar vibe.
It's got a similar art style.
Yeah.
honestly.
I
Yeah.
like that. It works.
Cross action cell shade. Yeah, it's all.
It looks
beautiful.
great. I love there's like one like room you go in and you just like it's like a downward shot and you just get like a little lizard walking by. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, like small details.
Like, yes,
that
it
are
really
sick.
the world is so fleshed out. Like they did a
Yeah.
fantastic job with that.
Yeah,
Really
and the way they
feel-
use like the fixed camera and it moves with you
Yeah.
to show like the geckos here
Yeah,
and there.
dude, that was very.
It
well.
definitely-
Atmosphere like 10 out of 10. Very, very
And
well
the
done.
music plays a huge part
So
in that.
good.
Yeah.
Each floor feels totally different.
Yeah.
It feels like you're in different countries, but you're in the same. It's all in one tower.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they're
Yeah.
completely different.
And it pays off
Like
too.
it's
At the
hard.
end. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to talk about it now?
Yeah, we should
That's a
get
good
into
idea.
the
Yeah,
story.
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah,
Like, I got
so-
one question before that.
Oh, sure.
What was your favorite way of discovering a language? Like, which floor was your favorite way of their version of discovering the language? Because for me, mine is definitely the 5th floor. Because it's so, it's just the consoles, and you try to basically.
Sounds like the most streamlined one.
I know, but
I think maybe that's why it's enjoyable.
It's cool because of the theming of like this is like the finale, and you're trying to combine everything you've learned before together. And I was watching you do it, and you were having a tough time. I remember at least.
At least with one of the terminals, I had no idea. I think it's because still back on 4.3, I had not done like that section.
I think
So
I got
still
there. I
had
was like,
learned
"Fuck."
by the 5th floor from other languages that I hadn't learned.
Yeah, you need to like have it all down, and like the 5th floor really is like this is the culmination of the whole
The
game.
5th floor is the easiest floor if you've done all the other floors.
Yes.
It becomes the hardest floor if you've not done any of the other ones.
Because it has these puzzles. I think there's 3 of them where you have to rearrange the symbols.
It's basically
put
like
them all in
a
a row.
rotating. I don't even know what the puzzle's called, but it's in a lot of puzzle games. It's like a rotating circles. You have to match them together.
It's like a rotating glyph, and you got to match up like if there's the word for plural in one language, the word for plural in another, and the word for plural in the,
They all have to go
last
in the
one.
line.
You have to like link up the similarities in all the languages, which is the point of the game. It's finding
That's
the
why it's my
similarities
favorite
between
because the
all-
theming is just so on point.
It really comes to a close on the 5th floor and
Yeah.
shows you what the purpose is. And it's like, do you want to follow through on that? And
Yeah.
it opens up the rest.
But do you guys have like a favorite way of discovering?
I do, for sure. It's the alchemy one. I like
The
the
alchemy?
alchemy one a lot. Just figuring out the numbers was.
The library was cool, and like just like looking around the environment that way.
I like the other parts of that language weren't as interesting to me, but figuring out the numbers in general was really
That's
fun.
fair.
The way you figure
The
it
calculator they had was really cool. I like
out.
that
Yes. The first time I opened the calculator was nuts because I would just start hitting buttons and like the symbols would just start popping up. I was like, "What in the world is this?"
Yeah.
But then, as you slowly start figuring out, like, this is 1, this is 3, this is 5, and like once I got the solid like 10 numbers out, I was like, yes, I got it. And that was just figuring out numbers 1 through 10 was my favorite
Nice.
thing to discover. For like,
And you guys have a favorite?
Robbie hates
I like the monkey boxes.
Like the monkey.
I
I
like
like
the
the
one
monkey
that
doing the plays.
That's
I'm a
cute.
monkey guy myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm close.
Monkey and
If not, yeah, shall we start? Getting
I think that
Yeah.
goes right into the story. Yeah.
Alright, so to begin with, the story is a bit inspired by Tower of Babel, where you have all these different cultures, and they used to be united, and they all spoke the same languages, or at least they understood each other's, and the languages got scrambled, they got divided. All the floors became like separated, essentially, and like walled off.
Yeah.
And what
Where do you want to start with
what's,
this?
what's the deal with you? You're like created by...
You were created by people at the 5th floor. I don't know if it was specifically. Yeah, they created the tower. I believe is like what the lore is. I don't know. I don't remember.
It was a
if-
fever dream.
Yeah, I
The
don't
ending was such a fever dream.
I don't remember if you were specifically created by like the
No.
head honcho or just like some random guy. I think it honestly was just some random guy who believed that like
he wanted to unite the
he
tower.
wanted to unite the tower. So you were created as a vessel, which actually like plays into the opening of the game. You emerge from like
Yeah.
like a
like a sarcophagus.
It almost looks like
yeah.
a coffin.
It looks
Yeah.
like it looks like you were fucking like a plastic like.
You were printed.
Yeah, you were fucking 3D
Oh, yeah.
printed onto like this thing, and then like you just walk out of it. And that's like just there's nothing that happens there. It's just like that's just how it opens, which is cool. And then you learn all these languages, and I think the reason why is because like you were created to be capable of like learning all these languages. You have to journal, you piece everything together, you make your way through the tower, and also while you're making your way through the tower, you am I missing something?
No, Robbie's
Robbie's
laughing.
laughing
Because he
like, I
didn't
get
care.
any of this. So go on.
Yeah, sure.
As you piece your way through the tower, you do these like side missions. You find these little like side areas where you find like a console of like 2 people from different areas of the tower
Trying to communicate.
with one another. If you translate for them what they're both saying, you have to do like a whole. It's like a 3-part dialogue that you have to translate for both parties. And once you do, the tower changes. You could go back to the areas where that happened, and the people from those floors will be interacting with one another. Like the whole layout kind of shifts, that's like interesting to see, and it shows the effect that like your character is having in like uniting the tower.
No, for me it was like the warriors are like, we like music, and the bards are like, you like music? And he's like, yes, we like music.
We play music.
We will come and play music, and then you go back to the warrior location, and they have like a Parthenon, and they're just on there having a concert.
Also, the song that plays
And the song that plays for that is
good.
really good. It's like a big we like music. Oh,
And that's
We
basically
come.
like just everything. Like they all had they were like, oh, the people beneath us are beneath us. The people above us are above us. Like worship them, hate them, and then they realize like, oh wait, we all have a lot of similarities. We all like these things. wait, we're not so different after all. And then they all start meshing together. And you see that process happen. It's so great.
It's very natural.
The other, I guess, like weird thing that they haven't touched upon yet, there too, is you get to the 5th floor, and the 5th floor is weird. It's very different from all the other floors because, like, you just come across like people that are attached to like televisions.
It's like Wall-E.
Yeah, it's like VR systems. Like they're like fully
jacked
in.
into like memories or something. Like you can see stuff happening on the screen. I've also heard that like there's some Easter eggs to some of the
One of them
developers
is a
other
reference
games.
to the first game the developers made.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
pretty
gotcha.
cool.
What was their first game?
I forget what it's called. It's like some arcadey.
Is it the one where they're all like playing?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like that's
No,
that's something we would do.
Yeah.
Well, on the 5th floor, like you talk to one person, and he pops out of the VR, says like 3 things, puts it back on. Go to the next person, he's dead.
Like
Yeah,
game.
you talk to one of the guys, and he's like, the arm is just like limp.
Then he just
The TV screen is like static,
and he's just like out.
dead.
He died in VR.
And like, I believe you translate to the guy that created you. He talks about how like his people are dying because they're like choosing to like lock themselves away.
They're in exile.
Yeah.
Also similar to Outer Wilds DLC.
He's trying to like save the tower.
Yeah.
Because I believe if the people at the top like die, the tower will like shut down.
I don't know if it was that because they made like a sentient like Tron villain tower.
I completely
dude.
forgot about the Tron villain guy. Yeah, you have to. That's the whole end portion of the game is you have to fight like the tower AI system that they have made, which is like trying to keep everything
It's
separated.
trying to keep it separate, yeah. So,
Yeah, that part was weird.
There was a straight fever
like,
dream.
action sequence at the end.
I don't know
where the
what
world
any of
is,
that
like,
means.
The
You get locked
simulation's
in
falling
VR.
apart.
you do.
Is that VR? Is that what happens?
You get locked
Yeah,
in
'cause
VR.
at the end you take it off, you step out of it.
I had
If you
no
get
idea.
the
I was
It's a
like,
little
If you get the
confusing.
bad ending, I'm pretty sure you like
You
you still see yourself in the VR headset, but you're like dead.
I'm just like,
I'm pretty sure.
I was like, what is this fever dream? You get the monster comes back. You do all these past puzzles again, but everything's shifted and broken.
Everything's different.
Yeah, that sequence is
weird.
crazy.
And it's just like a fever dream.
Yeah, if you don't fully finish the game, I would recommend checking out the final like action sequence cutscene. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, definitely check out like the true ending. But so should we get into the final
Yeah.
of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
At the end, you get out of the simulation and you go to the top, and everyone is there.
And you get
together.
2 endings.
Well, we're already past that.
We're past that.
And you
They mentioned that like an hour
unite
ago.
the world.
Yeah.
And one thing
You
that
build
really
the
like,
room.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see at first the rune for God, I think,
Which is
in
the first
language.
floor.
And then it shifts.
It
and
literally
shows
just
in
rotates.
all the different languages and the different meanings.
No, it's so cool. It's just a 3D shape, and it's like the most important word of each language. Like,
It's also the symbol that you see throughout the game
Yeah.
for like when you're trying to interact with things, you see that symbol above it. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, there's like God, duty, music,
I
art.
don't remember the try.
I think art, but yeah, it's like it starts as a triangle, but like it's like a pyramid like shape, and then it just rotates. And each language like basically sees a different perspective of it, and that's like
it's all from the same.
no, yeah, the themes are so on point.
It's
And then the
really
credits roll, and you just see it, and it's like you did it.
Yeah, that sequence is cool. The ending is strong.
Then we get the bad ending. I went back and looked at the bad ending. You're just like, there's no one there. It's gray,
You're just sitting there.
and you just go to the side of the side of the tower, and you just look down, and you're just like,
I lost.
that's
I don't know
it.
about you. I thought it was a great ending. I was done with the game.
You would.
Do
I
you
was
get
like,
the good ending by like completing the book? Is that
It's the
by
book
doing
and the
communicating
transmission.
You
with
like
everyone.
link
Oh.
everyone by
Yeah.
doing those
like the
terminals.
weird like terminal
Yeah, the
things?
translating things.
That's what those are.
When you
I had to go back.
I was
they
like, what the fuck are
told, they told me
these?
I had to go back and do all that again. I was like, nah.
I
I'm
at
good.
least the first time I played through didn't do that until the very end, so it was kind of difficult.
I kind of
was
did
like,
that
how
too.
did this language work again?
I didn't even know how to like operate it.
It's
at all.
worthwhile if you're already fed up with the game because there's another stealth section by doing it. Like you link them and then you
You're
go into
rewarded
a
by
whole
another stealth section.
No.
It's very
What about
another
you?
Tron room, and as you complete the sections, it wakes up like another Tron robot in the
fucking robots.
Oh
with
yeah,
lasers
you just
at
keep
you.
having to do
That's
stealth.
the weird
Yeah.
part. The overall story is pretty simple. It's delivered in a good
Very
way. But
good.
then there's like some weird stuff that kind of complicates and muddies it.
Sprinkles in Tron and
But-
stealth, and it's like
Overall, I like
makes
the theme and the message
Right.
of uniting through language. You're not that different.
It's
That's
a-
nice.
Yeah, the game's message was very wholesome and like very like hopeful. That was very
do
cool.
do we want to move into our final topic right before?
Yes, I do have a host topic. Y'all are still
Host
interested in talking
topic.
about. What would be your dream video game if you could choose the developer, genre, art style, mechanics, whatever? Just make it in your mind.
I know exactly what I want for this.
Start off. Go.
I want to work with Corey Barlow and Santa Monica to make a Castlevania like action game similar to God of War. I think it would be so cool, and they could really stretch the fantasy of Castlevania lore to make something really like fantastical and just in general like an action set piece that is really, really interesting. Like they do so much with God of War where it's these giant monsters that like raise from the ground, and if you could see like any of the Castlevania big monsters like coming at, or like just Dracula like coming out of the coffin, like having a really menacing like
Would you have
No, but I think that would be my dream game. They could do a lot with just making combat really fun in that universe with all of the Castlevania weapons. Like the cross boomerang and the whip and just everything that Castlevania
My
has.
question for you then: would you have a certain Belmont or a certain character you would like to play as? Because there's a lot in the Castlevania games.
I personally think I like Richter the most.
Okay.
Richter would be fun. But no, I think they could do anything that they want. I just like Richter's interpretation of like the Belmont legacy.
I think having action, like an action RPG, or is it action RPG?
Yeah.
Yeah, having like that, like gameplay with like a whip hasn't really been done.
What are they
It
called?
fits
The
the
Blades
third-
of Chaos? I think
Yeah.
that's the most fun in the God of War game, so I
Yeah.
totally
That's why
I
I'm
would play
saying
that
like
game.
anyone could maybe make whips fun.
Yeah.
It might be them.
That would be
'cause
pretty
I mean,
sick.
Elden Ring had whips.
I was
They're like
You
Yeah.
grab-
I would think
grab
that they
enemy
would
and, like,
make the
smash
whip
him.
weightier.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like a mace almost, right?
It
Yeah.
does. It has like a little mace thing at the end, and they could make like the little.
Morning Star.
Like
Yeah.
imagine it's the same thing with the Chains of Chaos, where you like you whip it out, and you hear like the chains rattle as it goes out, and
As it lengthens.
then it like cracks as it hits the end. It's like and like maybe like
A ball
sparks
fire.
off the enemies.
that's a
Sick.
good pick. I'd play that game.
It would be really cool.
That would be cool.
I've been thinking about that for a bit.
Yeah, for me, I think I would love to work with Sucker Punch and make a new Infamous game. Because
That's a good one.
I really loved Infamous 1 and 2. Like back when I was little, like I could only watch YouTube Let's Plays because I only had a Wii, and I could never play Infamous. And the first Infamous game I played was Second Son, and I love that game to death. But after that, they made First Light, and then they never brought back that Infamous game like series at all. So I think having a chance to work with them on that and like take either a spin at like Cole again with his lightning abilities, or Fallout, the character
Beanie Boy.
from Beanie Boy,
The Smoke Man.
yeah, or you can use Smoke Powers again, or just even like a new character that like spawned off those two. Like just seeing like a new Infamous game for me, I think would be fun, because just traversing the world and just like with all these cool superpowers has always been like a fun game of mine. I always enjoy open world experiences with cool abilities. I think that's what I gravitate towards a lot more. But yeah, I would say a new Infamous style.
They would do so good with an Infamous right now.
Yeah, I'm praying. Yeah.
For me, I want Arc System Works to make a new JoJo's fighting game.
Yeah.
Of course.
One, because I think they have the best 3D and a 2D style in fighting games, especially like the anime style games. Their visuals are unmatched. And also, they've made the craziest DLC characters for Strive, so I am confident they could make cool JoJo characters in a fighting game.
They could definitely pull it off. Yeah.
God, that'd be such a good game.
There's also such a huge roster for that.
I hope it would be all the
Draw.
parts, but if I had to pick
You can draw from anything,
Yeah.
even just like anime potential, right?
I
You
would
can still
love a
pull
Steel
it out.
Ball Run character.
JoJo characters translate really well at fighting games.
Yeah.
I really don't think it would be that hard. Like, just
I don't-
what
I
I
think
said.
I mean, the old Capcom arcade game, JoJo's Heritage for the Future, has some really cool like gameplay designs for those characters. And that was like the early stands that aren't even that crazy, so think what they could do.
I don't think we're super far off from seeing like a good JoJo fighting game happening, especially with a lot of other animes getting their fighting games
Oh, yeah.
and doing pretty well. I think we're getting back into an era where
Anime games.
companies are going to be like, oh, maybe we can make video games from our anime.
Who knows?
Hopefully.
It could be announced this weekend.
This
Context: we're recording during Evo weekend.
I guess you
Nice.
know so. Yeah. Who
Good
knows?
weekend.
Yeah.
Alright, what about you?
I'm gonna be a From Software shill, and I just want them to expand. I want them to fucking take the open world of Elden Ring and like make it Armored Core. Like
That's cool.
make
That would be
fucking take the same mech design, same gameplay, but like instead of going like hangar to mission, it would be cool to like explore the open world, find like mech parts or like salvage stuff,
create that sense
like
of
go
aspiration.
town to town, pick up like bounties from towns, and then set out.
Yeah, but they could make like the
Fight a tree
Armored
Sentinel.
Core game.
Fight a mech sentinel.
This is definitely like a little bit of a tangent from that, but I just wish that's like my thought would be like for Anthem, like way back in the day.
What Anthem
Could have been. Yeah, I'm like that
Yeah.
sounds so much like Anthem.
Yeah.
What's Anthem? It doesn't exist.
Oh,
No.
I was so hyped for that game. Different
the only
topic.
time I've played Anthem, not to sidetrack again to Anthem.
Sidetracking.
I
Yeah,
lost
no,
audio when I
really.
played that game, like completely. Like I started the game and then the audio just stopped, and I was like, all right, I'm just not playing it.
Fair enough.
That game was not good.
Felix, what about you?
I have no ideas. Before this,
How long did you have to think of it?
your infamous idea reminded me. I forgot the fucking name of the franchise. What's the one with Alex Mercer?
Prototype?
Yes, a new prototype would be sick.
That would be right.
Yeah.
And I think, like, from the infamous idea, but I think another one of those types,
Yeah.
either infamous or prototype, would be absolutely amazing.
Yes.
You're not the only person I've heard say that they want another prototype game.
Prototype 2 was like one of the mature, like not mature.
It was really edgy.
No, yeah,
it was very
like
edgy.
2000.
It was like I played it in like 14, 15, like when I like was still like new-ish to gaming, and that like really hit me like a big open world. So I played Infamous in like Target, like once.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
same.
I watched videos on like gameplays of it, but I never played it. And I was like, this game would be so cool to play, and maybe one day I'll like emulate it or get it in some way. But like Prototype was like
It's very similar to like
Prototype
Yeah.
was the good stuff. I'm like,
Prototype, I think, had, I'd say, a little bit more like hidden features in it, like at least like a little bit more detail, like for the game.
and also like the trailer for that game was so fucking good, and it had the Johnny Cash song.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like it was like, damn, that was it. That was
Solid.
a new Prototype game. It's mine.
Solid. Zeus.
I always say I'd love Platinum Games to make a Sonic game. Sonic with Bayonetta combat, I think would be amazing.
that would
And
be
it would
crazy.
if they adapt it like properly and don't fuck it up, because I know that some of their licensed games are total shovelware trash. But like if they made it good, like one of their good games, then I feel like it'd be fantastic.
And
And
with the spin dash combo.
yes, exactly.
Like the Transformers.
Yes,
Platinum
they literally have it.
That one
They
does look fire.
turn
yeah.
into a car, just have Sonic turn into a ball, or the same fucking way. It would be fantastic.
So
It'd be the best game ever made, and then the Sonic team can finally retire and stop making
Instead
Sonic
of
games.
which time you get Sonic time.
Yeah,
Now we just
they're
need-
already ripping off Bayonetta shit in Sonic Frontiers. We're only a few steps away. Like we're not
It's
that
close.
far
So
off.
This is the universe. This is the one.
It could happen.
You just need Sonic and the Black Knight 2. But
Yeah,
with
sure. Give him a sword. Do whatever.
Give him a sword.
I
Make
thought
it
about-
action RPG.
I thought about this for years though. Like, make a style system with Sonic. Like, get all the different wisps he has from Sonic Colors. You make like different move sets with it. There's so much potential to actually make something great.
And they could do like a kind of Generations, but like get all the games mashed up together in some way.
It could work, but it's never gonna happen because Sega refuses to make good Sonic.
I heard.
They all have to be
It's in the
low
contract.
budget. They all have to be low budget trash.
I heard, is it the director or something that was like, I want to make another Sonic RPG?
He
like,
did say that, yeah. Well, he's been trying to do that since the original Sonic.
Since
It's been
Chronicles?
forever.
Yeah.
I'm just
So-
waiting for them to admit that Shadow is a cooler character.
I feel like they're
Sonic.
trying with this
Sonic.
new game.
Yeah.
They're trying.
Yeah, but they're like half-assing it.
Shadow's
I
so
don't
sick.
know.
I don't know. Is Shadow a popular character? And then everyone's like, "Oh, cool, Shadow game." And they're like, "Oh, it's the Sonic game that has Shadow." All right.
I mean, they're not going
No,
to give him
Sonic
full price.
X
game,
Shadow.
yeah.
Man,
If
they're
Sonic
gonna
wasn't
make- oh,
owned by
it's
Sega, there would be
more
so
than
many great games that could come out. Honest, I hate people who say this, but I genuinely think Sonic would be better off being bought by Nintendo.
Oh,
And we'd be fine.
them fighting words over there.
It's true.
They could make some good
Sega
stuff with
and
it.
Sonic Team are incompetent. I'm sorry. It's true.
Damn.
Anyway, we're getting off.
The one good game.
We got
the
our
most recent game.
Yeah, we
Okay,
got
alright. Fair enough.
This was super fun.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
We got the wheel pod after 3 months.
That's it.
3 months.
You can do the app.
We'll see you again in 3 months.
Wait,
Hope
say
you
we're
enjoyed.
getting
Next time we're gonna be playing Chicory.
We're gonna paint some shit.
We're painting shit.
Welcome to another Wheel episode where we'll talk about how good the music is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Alright.